Terrence started with the first lies in the cheater's manual. It's not what you think. This was the first time. It didn't mean anything. And I'm sorry. The "it didn't mean anything" comment almost started a riot. Lil Mama went off and I started laughing. She then said the magic word bitch. And that's all I needed for my next move. I made a phone call. I said, 900S, Prowler Ard, 4324, Lincoln Ave, 3681 NW, 36, St. $2,000 to whoever swing on her first. She officially couldn't go to her home, her parents, or her sister. That was the first time fear showed up in the room, so I decided to keep it going. I opened my folder and began handing him receipts that killed every lie he told. I even handed him his phone records thanks to Tony. For a second, he looked a little remorseful when he said, "Tosh, don't do this." I shook my head because he was too late. I made sure he understood I was done and I wanted my money back. His response was the detonator to the explosives he had no clue about. Can you believe that bastard said to me, "You'll never see it"? Who did he think he was talking to? Before I turned and walked out of the door, I said these words. You were going to pay for what you did to me, but now I'm going to make sure I have no mercy. I want my money back, and I'm going to get it in cash or in blood. You have 24 hours, boss man. I went back to the honey, turned my phone ringer off, and took a nap. When I woke up and turned my phone back on, I had missed calls, text messages, and voicemails, all from Terrence. I laughed because dude was all over the place. One message he was in tears, and another one was him cussing me out. He was losing his mind, and that's exactly what I wanted. I made a quick call to James to let him know what happened. Called Tony and Ace over for a few. We ate, laughed, and listened to some music to take some of the edge off. And here goes my phone ringing. And it's you know who. I answered and put the call on speakerphone. Terrence had all the remorse in the world until Ace said, "Babe, are you hungry?" Terrence went from remorse to cussing me out again, saying he wasn't giving me a dime, and then he ended the call. I was too busy laughing to be mad at what Terrence said. Ace was petty for what he did, but that was a good laugh. The Sunday before I returned to work, I hung out with James. It was sex and a briefing for him to understand what position he needed to be in. Before we could get into our little rendezvous, his phone rings and it's Terrence. James put the call on speaker so I could hear. All I remember is, Natasha is cheating. Blah, blah, blah. I can't believe I trusted her. Blah, blah, blah. I laughed a little in my soul because is he the victim? Who's going to tell Terrence he started playing this game of tag and now he's it? My motto, if you start it, I'ma finish it. Terrence's pain made the sex with James even more enjoyable. I walked into the Miller and Ross Company building with all smiles. I waved to everyone, made it to the elevator, and hit the button with the number 14 on it. I hummed all the way to my floor. I waved and spoke to everyone, and they did the same until I got to Mrs. Suzanne. I spoke. She rolled her eyes, and I smiled, shrugged my shoulders, and walked to my office. I sat down and smiled, because Terrence did exactly what I knew he would do, run to his mama, and she would be emotional enough not to mind her business. Throughout the week, Mrs. Suzanne called herself trying to confront me, but I used it to my advantage. I stayed around people, so she would have to come to me and ask if we could talk. Every time she did this, I would say loud enough for others to hear key words. I would say her name and phrases like, "I don't want to discuss my personal life at work. Why are you harassing me?" And "You're making me uncomfortable." That was enough for me to go to HR and make a complaint against Mrs. Suzanne. I honestly didn't want her a part of what was happening, But if a person wants to insert themselves into a war, then it's a possibility of becoming a causality. I kept getting calls from Terrence and he kept leaving voicemails. According to him, he just wanted to talk, but when a man is hurt and mad, he's looking for revenge. He would have to wait his turn because I wasn't done having my fun. In a matter of 1 week, Terrence got an open case from the IRS and the DEA. Apparently someone anonymously called in a tip. Whew. The messages I got from Terrence were filthy. I just texted him and said, I don't know what you're talking about, and I understand you're mad because I am with someone else, but you cheated, and I took it as we are done, and you should too. I wish you the best, and I love you.